Spiral from the Book of Saw is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who was the director of Saw 2, 3, and 4. So we have a veteran in the Saw franchise returning to make yet another Saw film that isn't connected to those films at all, except acknowledging that they existed. So this is a brand new take without John Kramer and his backstory involved. And I can say that I enjoyed this film a lot. I really liked it, but it doesn't mean that there's a lot of stupid stuff in there. So this review is going to have some spoilers, but I am going to mainly talk about the gripes I had with this movie because there are a lot. But let's talk about some of the positives. First, Chris Rock as Detective Zeke, our main character. He is really enjoyable. I like him. He brings a lot of charisma to this film. And he's the reason why this movie got even made in the first place. Because he wanted to bring in another story. He introduced Lionsgate, I believe, with this new story, and they liked it, so they created this film. And he brings a lot of charisma, like I said. And Chris Rock, he's hysterical. I like Chris Rock. He's funny. But a lot of people were skeptical going into this film because they were probably thinking that, and this is okay to think, that his comedy and his voice would get in the way of this more serious thing that he's doing. And to an extent, it doesn't get in the way. There are some things that he says that are funny. There are some things he says that aren't funny when they try to be funny. So the film opens up introducing our character, Zeke, with a bunch of bad guys, doing a robbery. And he's saying we can't make Forrest Gump in today's times because, everything has to be politically correct and you can't make fun of people like that. And they go on with this joke for a while. I'm thinking that's not funny. But there are some smaller lines he has throughout the film that are funny. And it made me think that the writers wanted to bring in more of a comedic take in this film because the Saw films haven't been, they're not films you go to laugh at. They're films you go to see people die in gruesome fashion. And I'm pretty sure that you could have had it both ways, like how Edgar Wright did Shaun of the Dead, a horror film with some comedy elements in it. And it's a comedy film with some horror elements in it. You couldn't have done something like that, but I think the film wanted to be taken more seriously because it's a newer film that came out in 2021, and it's not a film that came out in 2004 like Saw, where it has to be solely scary. This film can have it both ways because every film at least tries to have some comedy nowadays. And that tonal difference between comedy and horror, it isn't overshadowing one or the other. It's just that it's a horror film with some comedy elements in it, but those comedy elements aren't what people came to see because the film doesn't want to devote to either comedy or just plain up horror. They're trying to sprinkle a little both in each. And the film isn't scary. There's a lot of jump scares in this film, mainly with the pighead masks people. The guy that's kidnapping all the people, putting them into traps. It's something I hate where this person makes like a creature noise, like a noise like that when they capture someone. And it's not scary. I got pissed off because it happens a lot throughout the film. And it's annoying because people don't make that noise when they capture someone. They probably try not to make any noise or just say, hey, shut up. But instead, you get this stupid creature noise with the loud jump scare noise, and it's not scary. The film isn't scary. I winced a little at some traps because they are rather gruesome, but I wasn't scared in this film. I think the film looks good for the most part. There's some camera movements that I really liked. Just moving with the characters as they walk along. The cinematography is good for the most part. There are some issues I have with the filmmaking aspect of it, though, such as some editing choices. Like, there's a scene where Chris Rock's character walks through a door, and it's an overhead shot of it. We're looking down on it, and the camera's zooming in, but you can also tell that in the editing process, someone's zooming in on it as well. And when the camera stops, you can tell when the camera you can tell when it's a camera doing it and when it's being done in post. But when the camera stops, it's still going a little in post. And I'm thinking, wow, that's such a rookie mistake that no one saw while rewatching this movie or something. That's something that kind of irked me a little. Like, wow, I'm taken out of the film for a tad second, but it's not something that kills the movie entirely for me. There are some points where the camera wouldn't focus on people for a while, and the characters are moving around a little. especially Chris Rock, because he has to be the soul of this movie. He has to move around and do his mannerisms, which made his character a little more enjoyable. But the camera wouldn't focus a lot, and it kind of pissed me off because I was thinking, wow, we're super in focus on him, and then he walks away, and it's kind of hard to focus on him for a little bit. So everything just looks like a blur for a couple seconds or something. And a lot of the stupid things I have wrong with this movie are a lot of the things that people have with a lot of the Saw films, like because Darren Lynn Bousman is a veteran and because he's heard of all the issues with the Saw films, I'm pretty sure he would have heard the complaints about people not liking the 360 spin around stuff from the first Saw film that they carry on to every other Saw film, where the camera moves around the characters really fast and everything's sped up while they're trying to escape. But that stuff's annoying, and I expected more. I expected something different than that, but I was thinking, wow, did you do that for fan service or because you think it adds tension? Well, people are in a trap and they're bleeding and they're scared and they're freaked out. That's enough tension already. You don't need to move the camera 18,000 times around the characters. And in typical Saw fashion, there are a lot of flashbacks in the film, and it's not like the flashbacks are annoying. They come at the right time to develop certain characters, and especially in the final act where we get the big reveal about who the Jigsaw copycat killer is. Now, throughout the film, the Jigsaw copycat killer is going after crooked cops. Now, this is the first time where a specific group of people are being sought after. There have been crooked cops throughout the Saw franchise, but I think it brings in the theme a little closer instead of just, oh, people aren't respecting their lives enough. No, it's y'all are evil people, so y'all better, hurt yourselves really bad and atone for your evil deeds, or else you're gonna die. So I think it brings the film a little closer to a central theme that a lot of people can get behind. And I would be behind a little more if the traps didn't seem so unfair. Um, One of the first traps being this cop who we see that didn't respond to Zeke's backup when he got shot, or before he got shot some years ago. Um, he's just an asshole as a cop. So, and we also see that he killed someone under a bridge just for flipping him off while he pulled him over. So, his trap is he has a lot of metal wiring around his fingers, and he has to bite down on this grip, and his fingers will get pulled off. And he does it for a majority of the time, but he hesitates for like 2 seconds because he feels the pain of one of the fingers being ripped off, right? And so he keeps going afterwards, and he's basically almost done, but he just dies anyways because the bathtub he's in fills up with water, goes up to the copper wiring, and electrocutes him. So it seems a little unfair, even because he was doing it already. There's also another one that's stupid in soft fashion where how is this character not falling off? Because the first trap, which is a clip on YouTube already that they released, the first trap being this guy has to fall off of this stool that he's standing on top of as he's being hung, and he has this contraption around him, and his tongue is being pressed down. So in order to be released before this train comes and runs him over, he has to jump down and his tongue rips out. This whole time that he's been there, how come he hasn't moved around a little? Because he's being hung up, right? How come he hasn't moved around and fallen already and his tongue already ripped out? Or did he just get placed there? Stupid stuff like that in the Saw films carry over into this film, and it kind of annoys me because then it makes me think that they really didn't think this through all the way as much as they could have, because they could have made a really good movie, but instead they made a good, enjoyable film. Samuel L. Jackson is in this film. He plays Zeke's father. Zeke is Chris Rock's character, and he doesn't play a huge important role in the film. He's there, and he does bring in some important things that take effect later on throughout the film, like the partner of Chris Rock's character William. It turns out that Samuel L. Jackson's character had this thing in place where they tried to clean the streets as much as they could by basically killing everyone they could, you know. And it turns out that this cop that Chris Rock snitched on, who killed an innocent person, was the father of William. And throughout the film, William goes, "Well, your father inspired me." I mean, he doesn't give any reason why. "Oh, well, you're the reason why I'm here, Chris Rock. I admire you so much." Doesn't give a reason why. And his motivation is admirable. He wants to stop crooked cops because they're evil and they do bad things. But it all comes in so late because in typical Saw fashion, we get the big final reveal at the end, and it turns out that Samuel L. Jackson was responsible in part for the killing of William, Chris Rock's partner's dad. And Chris Rock turned him in, but he kidnapped his dad and said, "Hey, I am going to give you an option: save your dad because he's being hung up in this contraption, or you can kill me and all the jigsaw framing is going to be put on you." So he saves his dad, but then because he tries to go after William, he has his plan in set already so that when the SWAT team comes in, Samuel Jackson will be lifted up in the air and his arm will be hoisted up with a gun in his hand, and the SWAT team will go, "Oh crap, let's shoot him 18 gajillion times, even though a couple shots would be enough." And then he escapes, William escapes, and Chris Rock screams at him no, and he goes down an elevator, and that's the end of the movie. And it kind of pissed me off because this film is an hour and a half long. I would have loved to see another half hour because that seemed like it could have been the rising point, the second act, the end of the second act. But no, it's the end of the film, and you have to wait to see the sequel because there's obviously going to be a sequel. You have to wait to see the sequel to see what happens next. And I liked this movie. I didn't hate it. There's a lot of stupid stuff in there. A lot of stupid Saw stuff, a lot of stupid horror movie stuff in there. But I enjoyed it for the most part. It was interesting. It had Chris Rock. He was good. The traps were unique. They were cool, but they seemed unfair, a lot of them. And the ending sucked because it just ended. And it felt like there could have been at least 30 more minutes of stuff going on. But I enjoyed myself for the most part. The movie looks good. I like the camera movements. I like Chris Rock. The traps are cool. I said it again, the movie looks good. There's a lot of good lighting choices. The police station looks like a police station, a little bit of orange. The trap places look blue and green, stuff like that. And a little bit of orange in there too. I just felt like there could have been a lot more done with this movie because it had an interesting concept. It's something separate from all the other Saw films, but it just feels like a better Saw film. I'm going to give Spiral from the Book of Saw a C plus. I definitely don't hate this movie, and I definitely want to watch it again. And I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be. It's just there's stupid stuff in there. Chris Rock's enjoyable, and I found it to be a little predictable at points because we see that William goes missing, and then we see his flesh being sent in a box with his tattoo on it, so it's him. But I'm pretty sure no one decided to do DNA tests to make sure it actually was him. They just took it for word because it had his tattoo on it. When it's actually the flesh of another cop that got skinned. And, stupid stuff like that could have easily solved this case. Like, hey, that's not the right dead guy. Your partner might still be alive. And other stupid stuff like Chris Rock going to Samuel Jackson's house, but he's not there because earlier in the day, William's phone said he ran out of battery. So he's like, hey, can I use your phone? Oh, rookie mistake here. Now, don't do stupid stuff on there like watch Twilight. Oh, that's a funny line he had. Or whatever. He said it better. So what he did was he texted his dad and said, hey, this is where the killer is. Come meet me there at this time. And then he blocks the number. So for like the next 3 days, Chris Rock's trying to call Samuel Jackson like, Dad, where are you? He doesn't even try to check to see, oh, maybe I might have blocked him by accident. Or, oh, why isn't he answering me? Yada, yada. That's what I would do. If someone's not, I was like, oh, did I block this person by accident or whatever, stupid, or call them from another number, at least, Jesus, stupid stuff like that. But good movie, it's fine, it's not bad. Check it out. I think Saw fans will get a kick out of it. I think it's definitely one of my favorite Saw films. One, and then this movie, because one's the best. It's the best at being a movie. So, anyways. Spiral from the Book of Saw. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think about it? Tell me in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe if you want. I'll be back with more enjoyable content like this, and bye.